Hello everyone. Welcome to our 12 days 12 use case webinar series. In today's webinar, we will be converting one of the famous e-commerce industry and clothing industry brand H&M website into mobile applications using Twinr. We will be using H&M to demonstrate that how you can use Twinr to convert any e-commerce industry or any clothing industry websites into mobile apps. So if you are in e-commerce industry and using any website technology such as Shopify, WordPress, WooCommerce, Wix or any other technologies, then you can use Twinr to create mobile apps for your business. So now let's start creating an application out of H&M website.
Okay, so let's start creating our application now. Okay, let me go to the portal first of all, and then we click on this create a button to create an application. So today we are converting H&M website, which is e-commerce application, right? So I'm going to go with the e-commerce template here. The first part is application name, so I'm going to enter H&M here. The next one is website, so I'm gonna copy this website URL and the website platform, and then we have two different options here, which is remove header and remove footer. So from Twinr 2.0 we are introducing Twinr automation engine. So Twinr automation engine will be doing a lot of work automated for you. Now this includes removing header and footer automatically, right? Another thing is that automatically identifying few screens for you. So for example, if you have an e-commerce website, then it will find out cart screen URL, account screen URL, shop screen URL automatically for you. And there are a couple other automations available in the Twinr automation engine. Okay, so I'm going to keep the remove header and footer enabled so that Twinr automation engine will find out the header and footer for me and it will remove it from the mobile application. Now, why should I keep it enabled first of all? So let's understand that. So for example, this is my website, right? And now if I make it responsive like this, then you see that we have a footer here at the end of the website. So I don't think, like this is an important element that we want to display in the mobile app. So I basically want to remove that. The next one is the header here, right? So header as well, if I'm building a mobile application, so I prefer having a native navigation bar or the native header instead of using one from the website. Okay, so that's why I'm going to keep this enabled, right? And Twinr automation engine will automatically find it out for me, and then I will utilize that. And also we have few information here and few element here in the header, right? So most of the things I'm going to cover as a part of bottom bar here, right? The native bottom bar. So I'll explain once we build an application there to what we are going to do with all these different options available in the header here, and how we're gonna use native functionality, right, to satisfy the similar requirement. Okay, so first of all, let's go click on the next button, right? So as you can see that we have three different URLs automatically filled up here. The first one is home screen, right? So again, I have replaced it with the specific en_ca because that's what my current location is, right? Shop screen is also en_c, so let me replace this. But anyway, we are not going to use the shop screen because on this website on H&M there is no dedicated shopping screen. Okay, they have all the categories listed like this. So if we go to any of the categories, then always we can directly see the products based on the categories, but there is no screen where we can see list of the categories and all the products and everything. So instead of the shopping screen, let me update it with the favorites actually. So I will be changing the name later on as well. Okay, similarly for the card screen, I think I'm going to change the location here to en_ca for the card screen as well. And for the account screen, their URL is /account. Okay, so we have four different screens here, which is home, shop, cart, and account, right? And now let's build an application out of this. Okay, so we have our application listed here. Now there are three different options here. So the third one is pretty easy to understand, right? The first one is application dashboard, which we will be working on in a moment, right? And the second one is the middle one here is the preview application. So let's click on that. So we do provide a Twinr preview app where you can preview your application changes live. So for example, whenever you will be working on your application here and doing any of the changes, you can preview everything live in your real device. So that's what the Twinr preview application is. So I would highly recommend installing this in your Android mobile, right? But for example, if you don't have an Android mobile, right, in any case, we do provide integrated simulated devices as well, which I'll explain you in a bit again, right? But if you have an Android device, then use this, which is more easy to use. Okay. Now let's go inside an application. So on the home screen, we can see the step-by-step process here. So we already discussed about the preview app, which is good, right? The next step is branding. After that, we are going to set up the theme, and then after we are going to customize our screen and our application, right? And then we have two different other options here, which is live chat and step-by-step video tutorial. So if you encounter any issues, or if you have any concern or questions, you can always go here and contact our team, and someone from our team will immediately reply you there. And we also have a step-by-step video tutorial on YouTube, so you can just click on this link and go through all the videos, which will guide you all the step-by-step process from start to end. Okay, so now let's go to branding here and start setting up our branding. So first thing is application info. So application name is already there, so I don't need to do any changes in there, right? The another one is iOS bundle ID and Android package name. So both these information will be required when we are done with our application and we want to publish it on App Store and Play Store account. So I'm going to skip this information for now because currently we are building an application. Okay, next one is application icon. So let me upload an app icon here, which is this one for H&M. Okay, and let's update it. Perfect. So application icon will be displayed when user will install an application in a mobile device, so that it will display like this. Okay. Similarly, launch screen. So let me upload the launch screen as well, which is this one is our launch screen. Update it. Now the purpose of the launch screen is that it's kind of a branding screen, right? So when user will install an application and open it for the first time, right, they will be able to see this screen, and then after they will be able to see the next part of the application. Okay, so that's what the launch screen is basically. Every time they will open an application, they will launch an application, okay, they will be seeing this launch screen first. Okay, and this is kind of a standard in Android and iOS devices. So yeah, I would highly recommend utilizing it properly to like give a proper brand message here. Okay, app permissions. Now this is very important feature that we are going to launch with Twinr 2.0, right? With this feature, now you will be able to customize your application permissions. You will be able to decide your own permission messages. Now, what are these permissions first of all? So for example, in your application, right, you have a edit profile feature, for example, or a screen, for example, right? Now, when user will try to do an edit profile or trying to change their profile picture, so in mobile application they can use the camera or photo library, right, to either capture their photo or to select their photo from photo library. So in both the situation, in Android it's good, but in iOS you will need to first of all ask permission from the user that do you allow us to access your camera, right? Now when you ask for this permission, okay, you will need to provide them a message there that why do we need this permission. Okay, and that purpose string, that purpose message is really important. Okay, and that's what the app permission feature is basically. It will allow you to specify that message here, that whatever message you want to provide to your user, you want to ask to your user, right, this message will be displayed when it will ask for a permission from your user. So let me save it as a draft because I want to use this permission, right? Similarly for the photo library, I want to use this permission as well. So let me save it as a draft. Okay, now let's understand that what is permission rational messages. So permission rational message means, for example, you ask the permission to your user, right? And maybe they have denied it. That no, I don't want to allow you to access my photo library. That's possible. Sometimes users do it, right? So now next time when they will try to use the photo library, they will not be able to use it because they have denied it, right? And also they might forgot that, okay, I have denied the permission previously, now I don't know how to enable it. So then they don't know about it. So the permission rational message will be a rescue in that situation. So permission rational message means, First time we asked the permission to user, they denied it, right? Now again they are trying to access a feature where they need a permission, but they denied it previously. Okay, so instead of asking this permission again, because we can't ask the permission again, right? We can only ask permission once, so user will need to decide once if they want to allow it or deny it. Okay, so next time we can't display, or we can't ask the permission again, so we will display the permission rationale message pop-up. Okay, and that pop-up will be displaying this message that why should you enable this permission. Now obviously that pop-up will have two buttons. One is cancel, to cancel that pop-up, and another one is setting button. Now when user will click on that setting button, okay, it will bring them to their application settings. Okay, so when they will go to their application setting, from there they will be able to enable this permission. And that's why the permission rationale message is really very important. So if some of the users has opted out from allowing the permission, using the permission rationale message, you can again ask them for a permission, and then you can again, and they can opt in for the permission. Okay, so I need the photo library permission, so I'm gonna keep that. Microphone, I don't really need it. App tracking transparency. Again, this one is also really very important permission, because for example, if you want to track your users, that what they are doing in the application, and you want to use it for your analytics purpose, right? Or maybe you want to use that information for some other purpose as well, that how they are using an application, and then you, based on that, you might want to recommend them something, right? So you might want to provide them a personalized content based on that. So that's one of the use case that you should use this permission, right? The second one is for if your application falls under GDPR compliant, right? Then if your website is asking for a cookie policy, for example, right, then it is must to ask this permission and to enable this permission, because it's under Apple's terms and condition that if your website is providing cookie policy or asking for the cookie policy, right, then you must ask for the app tracking transparency as well. Otherwise they are going to reject your application. Okay, so this permission is really important. So let me enable this as well for a demo purpose, that how it's gonna work, right? And the next one is a location permission. So I'm not going to use it for now, so let's skip that as well. Okay, so in branding, we did set up app info, app icon, launch screen, and we also decided that what kind of permissions we need. All good. Now let's go to our app theme. Okay, so our application theme is basically to set up your and to match with your website branding. So in the mobile application, we are going to use lot of native components, right? So for all those native components, you can set up your branding from the screen, such as tab bar and the navigation bar. So for the tab bar and the navigation bar, you can set up different branding parameters here, such as selected color, unselected color, background color, and for the navigation bar, there are multiple options here. Okay, so before we go into this, okay, let me open my application here. So let me refresh this. So we have a latest created application available here. So we can see an application icon here that we have uploaded. Now let me open that app, and we see you see that launch screen as well, right, at the start, and then after application got started. Let me go back and show you that again. Yeah, there you see, that's how our launch screen will look like. Okay, so now as you can see that this is our top bar, which is our navigation bar, right, and this bottom bar is our tab bar. And let's go to our website as well. Okay, so here H&M is actually using red and black color combination. So red is kind of their brand color. Okay, so what I want to do, instead of using a black color here for the selected items, I want to use a red color for that, right? So let's go to our portal again, and under the tab bar we have a selected color. Let me update this selected color to their brand color, which is E50010, and save it as a draft. Now let's go to our application again and reload this. Okay, so as you can see here, now our color is being changed to red color, but icon is still black, Okay, so I'm going to fix that in our screen customization section. We will have this flexibility to update these icons and apply colors to that. Okay, and one more thing I want to change here is my screen title size. So let's change the font size to maybe 18 pixel and reload this. Okay, so you see the title font size is increased a bit. Okay. Okay, so other than that, I think everything else looks good to me for now. Okay, if we will need to do some changes here, we will do it later on while we will be customizing our screens in our application. Okay, so now our app theme setup is done. Now let's go to the screens menu, and under the screens menu here, as you can see that we have these simulated devices here. So as I explained before that if you don't have Android mobile to install this preview application, then you can use this Android and iOS devices as well. It's gonna work exactly similar to what I'm using here. Okay, so in our screen section, we have general settings, login, and the 4 screens that we had created when we were creating an application. So one of the screen, which is a shop screen, so we need to change the name of this screen. So let me change it to favorite first of all. Okay. Save it as a draft. Okay, because instead of the shopping screen, we are basically using it as a favorite screen. Okay, now the next thing is that home, favorites, cart, and account doesn't really sounds good. So what I will do, I'll switch the order of the screens here, and I'm moving account screen at the second position. And let me save it as a draft. Now let's go here and reload this. So you see now I have a home screen, account screen, favorite screen, and the last one is the card screen. Okay. And also one thing, if you noticed that in my mobile application, I don't see the header here. And at the same time, if I go to end of the screen, and then I don't see the footer as well. You know why? Because Twinr automation engine automatically applied those changes for us, right? As I explained that we had kept those options enabled, right, initially. So that's why automation engine automatically applied all these changes. Okay, all good. One thing we need to fix here is about our customization, because now we don't really need few information here and few elements here. So let's remove unnecessary elements that we don't really need in our application. So header and footer is already being taken care of. Now let's go to website. And now what I want to do here, first of all, that let me convert it into responsive view. Yeah. So in the responsive view, that's how our header looks like, right? So we have covered all these options in the bottom menu, which is account, favorites, and cart, right? And our home screen is obviously our home screen. Now we do have one option here, which is a hamburger menu, right? This side menu, which is also being removed with this one, which I don't really want to do, right? So what I can do, let me enable the header for the home screen, but keep it disabled for the rest of the other screens. So to do that, right now that remove element change is being applied at the general settings, and we can see the header here. So let me copy this and remove it from here and save it as a draft. Okay, so we can see, let me refresh this now. So now our header will be back. Okay, now you see our header is back here. Okay, now let's go to the account screen again, and under the remove elements, I will be removing the header from the account screen, favorite screen, and the card screen separately. Remove elements and save it as a draft. Card, remove elements, and again save it as a draft. Okay, all good. Now let's go here again, reload this. So our home screen has the header, right? But if we go to account, we don't see that. If we go to favorites, we don't see that. If we go to cart, we don't see that. That's what we wanted. Okay, now the next thing is that on our home screen as well, for example, I don't really want to display these icons and the logo as well, because most probably I'm going to move this logo in the navigation bar here. Instead of this home, I'm going to use the display the H&M logo here. Okay, so these 5 elements are not really useful for me. Okay, so what I'll do, let me find out those elements. So first of all, let me click on this one, right? So as you can see, these 4 icons are actually part of this particular UL element here. right? So let me copy this class name, right, and search it. So you see this identifier is being used in one kind of CSS here, and then after if I go there, then only once in the element. So this is a unique one. So let me copy this, right, and then go to the home screen again, and under the remove elements, now this is what I want to apply. These changes I want to apply in the home screen only, right? So I'll be going to the home screen, and under the remove elements only I'll be doing it. Okay, so now because it's a class name, so I'm going to append dot at the start and save it as a draft. Perfect. And now let's go to the app here, reload this. So as you can see, we don't see those elements here anymore. Okay, now let's find out where the logo is. So for the logo, header module logo, this one, yeah. Now this is a class, so we are going to append dot at the start and save it as a draft. Okay, now let me reload this. Okay, so you see now we don't see the logo as well. Okay, which is good. Now we have only this hamburger menu left on the home screen, but which it looks a bit weird, because you know, like when I have only one icon left here, and we have this much white space left here, which doesn't really look good aesthetically. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to mimic this exact button with a native button. So I want to remove this button from here, but at the same time, whatever the functionality of this button is to open the hamburger. Okay, I want to mimic this functionality with the native button, right? So to do that, what I can do, let me first of all introduce you one new button. So I'll go to home, navigation bar, that's where I add new buttons, right? And to satisfy our requirements, I will be adding a new button and tag selector button, because what I want to do, when I click on this button, right, I want to mimic the behavior of this. So using the tag selector button, I can do the exactly same thing. I will need to provide identifier of this element, and once I will provide the identifier here in the tag selector, so when I click on this native button, which will be available here in the left hand side, so right, so once I will click on that button, it's gonna do the exactly same thing which is we are seeing with this button, right? So let's do that. First of all, let's select the button icon, okay, which is, I'm gonna use this one, use that, and let's find out the selector. So to find out the selector, click on this little arrow icon and click on this button here. So you see we have this button here, which is this one, right? So let me actually copy this header. Okay, header module hamburger button. This looks unique to me. Let's find it out. So you see it's only being used at two places. One of them is CSS and another one is the actual element. So this is unique. Then let's copy that, append dot at the start and then the class name, and add this and save it as a draft. Let's go here and reload this. Okay, so as you can see, now I have one tag selector button. So let me click on this button here. So you see it's opening the hamburger as it is, right? And if I click on this button on the website, then also it's doing the same thing, right? I'm clicking on the tag selector, clicking on it again, it's closing it. So our purpose is being satisfied basically. So now what we can do, now we can remove this button as well, because now we have mimicked the exact functionality with our native button. So we don't really need this, right? So to do that, let me click on this arrow icon again and select this button identifier. So as we can see here that this button identifier is basically, we already have it actually, right? Under the tag selector, we use the similar identifier. So let's copy this identifier, remove elements and click on it. Add this here. So let me remove the extra dot from start and save it as a draft. Okay. So now reload this and we don't see anything here, right? Everything is good. Okay. So we did remove the elements from the top, but there are still some extra white space there because there was a header here, but that space basically still being used, right? So what I want to do now, I want to remove this space. Okay, so one way to do this is that whatever the next element is, okay, I will bring it to the top basically, right? So automatically it's gonna use this unused space. Okay, so first of all, let's go here and find out that where this element is, because we want to bring it to the top. Now if we go here, then we can see that everything is wrapped under this main element here, right? So what I want to do, I want to copy this main element. Okay, the main element name, I think it's a unique element. Let me find it out. So it's being used at 23 places, but all of them are CSS, right? The only main element we have used is only once. All these other things are basically their ID and everything, so that's fine. So either I can use this element name directly, or I can use this main content identifier as well, right? Or I can use the class name as well. So let's use the ID here, which is main content. Okay, let me copy this identifier, go to the portal, and now, so you see this main element starts from this particular part. It's after the header. Okay, and I want to bring it to the little bit up. So we have the ID now. Let's go to CSS, but in the general settings, because we want to apply that changes everywhere, right? So go to CSS, add, and add the elements identifier, which is our main hyphen content, right? Now main content is an ID. So now because it's an ID, right, we need to append hash at the start. Instead of dot, we will be appending hash at the start, and then CSS property. So when I want to move the content little bit up, okay, the CSS property is margin hyphen top colon. Now I want to move it to the top, so it's already at the 0th position based on their CSS. So what I want to do, I want to move it to the minus position, which is minus, let's try 60 pixel. Okay, and at the end semicolon. So save it as a draft, and then let's go to our app again and reload this. Okay, so as you can see, we have this content available here, but I still see some white spaces there. Okay, so for that, what I can do, let me select this element again, and let's see that where this exactly header is. So this header is basically this particular part. So now actually we removed all the child elements separately, but at the end we did remove it separately, but we don't really need it, right? So what I'll do, I'll remove this one as well. Okay, the main container, I will remove this one as well, because we don't really need that as well. So let me remove that, and to do that, we go to the portal again, and under the home screen, under the remove elements, add that identifier and save it as a draft, and then reload this, and there you go. So now you see we have this screen little bit up, starting from the top. We can still do a little bit, maybe instead of minus 60 we can do minus 70 as well, but for now this looks good to me. Okay, so we did customize our home screen, we did remove the unnecessary elements, right? We mimic the behavior here for our hamburger menu, and then we have multiple screens here as well, right? But what is left right now, the remaining thing is we still need to update these icons, right? It's still black, so let me do that first. And so to do it, let's go to portal again. Under the home screen, in the general menu, we see we have a normal icon and the selected icon. So I want to keep the normal icon as gray, but the selected icon should be of a red color, which is the H&M branding color. So let me select this icon again and go to general icons and select the home icon again. Let me search it, home, and then apply and color here, which is E50010, and update it and save it as a draft. Perfect. So now let me go to account again and do the same thing. But for the account, yeah, we need to only update the selected icon. So again, the same thing, account, or maybe the user icon I can search for, yes, and E50010, and update it and save it as a draft. and go to favorites. Now favorites, both of the icons are actually not good, right? Both of them are actually using the shop icon. So let's update both of them. So first of all, I update the normal one, and instead, okay, so let's search for the favorite, which is this one, and gray icon color is this 858585, and save it as a draft. And let's select the selected icon as well, which is, yeah, here it is, and E50010, update it and save it as a draft. Okay, so we did it for the favorites as well, and let's do it for the cart. So now for the cart screen, let's update both of them. Actually, instead of this cart, let's use a bag icon here. Okay, so for that I'm going to use this shopping bag icon, and 858585, update it, and let's select the select it again with the red color, which is E50, and save it as a draft. Okay, now let's go to our app again and reload this. So you see, now we have an icon with the red color. Now let's go next, this one, next this one. Everything looks good. Everything is perfect here. Okay, so we have updated our tab bar as well, right? Now it's matching the exact branding that we wanted. Okay, perfect. So the one thing I also mentioned here earlier is that we want to add this logo on the home screen here, because personally for me, I always prefer that on the home screen user should see the branding, right? Instead of the name home or something like that. Maybe the branding is a good idea. Okay, so let's do that as well. Let's go to portal again, home screen. In the navigation bar, the title type is text here, but instead I will be selecting use tab image. Okay, and title image, let me use the logo here, which is this one, and save it as a draft. Okay, so let's reload this. Okay, so this looks very big. Okay, we need to fix this, and to do that we'll go to app theme again, and here we have title image height and title image width. So let me fix it. Let's use 45 pixel and 45 pixel width as well, 45 pixel height and width. Save it as a draft, and let's go here. Yeah, this looks perfect now. So it's perfectly centered and it's a perfect size and looks good. Okay, so now basically what we did customize everything in such a way that we did remove our elements as well, right? But at the same time, we didn't lose any of the functionality here. Okay, so that looks good. Now if I click on the hamburger, everything is working fine, right? I have access to all the categories here as a user. That's what I want, really. Okay, that looks good then. So our customization part is almost done here, right? Now what I want to do, here you can see I have few items in the cart here. Okay, so right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 items in the cart. Okay, now let me go to the home screen and go to women's clothes and add one more item in the cart. Select size, medium, and add to cart. And let's go to the cart again and see that it's not really here, right? So it should really update it. Let me refresh the cart screen and see that. Okay. So basically if I refresh the cart screen, then I can see it here, right? This is the item that we have added, but without refreshing it, we can't see that. So that's not good. Let's fix it as well. So to fix this issue, we have a feature called cart refresh. And for that, we need to go to the screens, general settings, and under the general settings, we have a cart refresh menu. So let's enable this. Now, after enabling this, we will need to provide cart counter selector here. So cart counter selector means, let's go to website to find it out. So you see here we have a little 0 displayed here in the shopping bag. Okay, so that's what the cart counter is. Basically, when user will add any of the product to the cart, this counter is gonna be increased, right? So to enable the cart refresh feature, we will need to provide the identifier of this particular counter. So let's find it out. Click on this arrow icon again and click on this element again. And as we can see here, that 0 is here in this span tag, right? So let me copy this class name and append dot at the start and then the class name and save it as a draft. So let's go here and reload this. Okay. And okay, all good. So we still have our products in the cart here, all the products here available, right? Now let me go to home screen. Again, women's clothes. Okay, add to cart, size 6 or whatever it is. All good. The product is being added to the cart, right? Now let's go to the cart screen. So you see now my cart screen is being refreshed automatically. And let's go to end of the list and we can see this product here updated. Yeah, so that's what the cart refresh feature is all about basically. Okay, so we did set up the cart refresh as well. So that issue is being fixed as well. Everything else is working fine. We have the checkout button, we have the product list here, we have all the products listed here. So everything looks good. Our favorite screen is being here. So we have all the favorite products listed down in this list, right? And our account screen is here. So I'm already logged in with the account here with my H&M account. So everything looks good as well. And we have this settings screen to set up my account and everything. And as you can see that whenever I do any kind of navigation, I go to the next screen, right? It's enabling the back button automatically. And if I click on it, it's gonna bring me to the previous screen again, right? If I click on it again, come back, click on it again, come back. Now you see how fast the page loading is exactly here, because when I click on the settings screen, it's not even loading the page, right? So that's because of our cookie and cache mechanism feature. Okay, so whenever user will be visiting any of the page, okay, our smart cookie and cache mechanism feature will be caching all those data, right? And it will be checking that if this page is still valid or not, the content of the page is still valid or not. If it's still valid, it's gonna use it and it's gonna display it as it is. So if I'll click on it again, the page looks still valid. So it's displaying that page immediately without loading it again, right? So that's how we have improved our application performance by 10x, right? Okay, perfect. So now let's move to the next part, which is to set up our navigation bar for another one screen, because we have one home screen. Under the home screen, under the navigation bar, we did set up this tag selector button. Okay, but still I think, like whenever users are basically wants to share the product with someone. So for example, as a user, I am visiting this product right now. Okay, any of the product, for example, I am visiting this product right now. I'm looking at it, I find it interesting. I want to send it to my friend. I just want to recommend them to buy it, right? So how can I share that easily? Because in the browser, we can see these URLs, but in mobile application, we don't see any of the URLs here. So how can I do that? And it doesn't really look good to, display the URL in the mobile app and then copy paste it and everything, right? So we have a very nice way to do that. And to do it, what you need to do, let's go to the portal again. And I want that feature on the home screen, right? So what I will do, under the home screen, under the navigation bar again, on the right hand side, I will add native link sharing button. Okay, so when I click, so let's add this button. It's not gonna ask you for anything. You just need to select the button icon. So let me use one share icon for this one, which is, I think this looks good. Yeah. So update it and add this button and save it as a draft. Now let's reload this one. So I have this native link sharing button at the top here. So for example, now I go to any of the product like this. Okay, click on this product and I want to share this product to someone. So what I'll do, I'll click on this native link sharing button. So you see, it did open this nice sharing window here. Okay. So when I click on this button, basically it's bringing up all the applications that I can share this link with. Okay, so now I can select either WhatsApp or anything here, or whatever my friends I want to share this URL with. So that's what the native link sharing button means, and this is really useful when you want to allow your users to share this product with their friends and family, right? Okay, so I think in terms of screen customization, all these things looks really good. Okay, now what I want to do, in Twinr 2.0 we did introduce one more feature, which is custom fonts, right? So whatever fonts I am using here right now, right, these native fonts, because this content is not coming from the website. Okay, all the other content, like all these things, the middle part of the application is actually coming from the website, but this content is not coming from the website, right? So what I want to do, I want to update the font for that. Okay, so to do that, what I will do, I'll go to portal again, and under the add-ons, now you see we have lots of different extensions available here. Okay, one of them is custom font, so click on it, and we have 1400 plus font styles available here. So you can choose whatever basically suits your brand. Now for this one, I'm going to select Poppins and then save it as a draft. Okay, so now you see this font looks like this for now, right now, and let's reload this and go to account again. So now you see the changes here, it's changed to Poppins now. Okay, so that's very easy to apply. Now all the fonts that is a native text, right, will be using this Poppins, and your website will be also using Poppins, so it's gonna match the branding end to end. Okay, easy peasy to set it up. Okay, another thing I'm going to change is page loader as well. So for example, when I go to any of the product here, right, you see this little page loader there, right? Let me change, first of all, I want to change the loader color. So let me change it to E50010, which is a brand color. At the same time, I want to change the style as well. So I have available 45 plus more style. Okay, so from these styles, most probably I'm going to use this one for now. Okay, let's use that one and then save it as a draft, and then go to the application and reload this. You see, now the loader is of red color with the style that we have selected, right? So that's pretty cool. Okay, the next part is, let me see what are other extensions I can use in this application. So one of the important one is app review. So app review means now your users are using your application, right? So obviously you want to ask them for a positive feedback as well, right? And that is really very important, because if I am as a user, okay, visiting the app store and finding out some good clothes application or e-commerce applications, right, for my shopping, online shopping, then I'll be looking at the reviews as well. So it is very important for you to ask reviews from your users, right? Because ultimately it's gonna bring more users to your application. It's gonna get more downloads for your application as well, right? So to do that, we have a very easy to set up feature, which is app review. Okay, so you just need to enable this feature, and then you need to provide the app review schedule. Okay, so here you will need to provide a comma separated value. Now, for example, 5, 10, or 20, like this. Now, what is the meaning of this value? The meaning of this value is app sessions, basically. So for example, when user will open your application 5 times, that's when it will ask for the review, application review. Okay, after that 6, 7, 8, 9, it's not gonna ask for it again, but when user will open it for the 10th time, it's gonna ask it for again for the app review. Okay, so that's how you will need to manage your app review schedule based on the app open sessions, that how many times user is opening the application, right? So every time user is opening your application, that means they are using your app. Okay, so how many times they use your app, after that you want to ask for the app review. That's what the schedule is. Now you can provide whatever you want here after 30, 40, or whatever it is, right? But make sure that you are providing the values in an incrementing manner. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna keep 5, 10, and 20 for now and save it as a draft, and that's it. But basically I will not be able to preview this in the preview application right away, right? Because that's not allowed to preview it, and App Store and Play Store doesn't really allow that as well. So if you want to preview this, then what you can do, you can request an app build. You can basically generate your APK file and IPA file for your application, and then after you can test this. Okay. And also when you are setting this up, okay, make sure that you are providing a proper numbers here, because for example, if you are asking it too frequently, like if you will write down 1 2 3 4 5, like every time a user open an application and you want to ask it, then Apple and Google is gonna block your request. Okay, it will not display the app review alert to the user, because that's not allowed, right? So you should ask reviews after certain period of time only, and that's why app review schedule should be maintained or managed very carefully, that after how frequently your users is using your application, right? If they are using very frequently, then you should increase the gap in between, like instead of 510 you should like 520 and 50, something like that, right? But if they are not using very frequently, then yeah, you can use 5 10 20 like that as well. That's totally fine. Okay, save it as a draft again, and then let's go back. Okay, so now we did a preview as well. We did set up custom fonts, page loader as well. Okay, so in this application, because this is an e-commerce application, another important part that we need to integrate here is push notification. And on top of the push notification, we need to set up personalized push notification and abandoned cart push notifications, right? Because personalized push notification is important, because if I have ordered something online, then I want to get notified about my order status, that it is being delivered or it's on the way, or it's what's the status of my order is as a notification. I really like that, right? And abandoned cart notification, because if user has left something in their cart, now we want to remind them that you have some items left in your cart, right? So for that as well, we want to remind them, and that's how we can increase our our sales, our growth, right? Business growth as well. That is really important to set up abandoned cart notifications. Okay, so let's do that as well. Let's go to integrations, and as you can see here under the push notifications, we have Firebase, personalized, and abandoned cart. So let me click on personalized push notification here, and it says that you must enable Firebase push notification integration in order to use this feature. Okay, so let's do that. First of all, let's go to Firebase and enable the Firebase push notification. Now it's asking me for two files, which is Google Service info.plist and Google Service.json file. Now we need to generate these files on Firebase. How we can do that? We have in-depth information available here, that how you can enable push notification. Go through this video and you will get all the information from there. Okay. For now, to save some time here, I have prepared those files already. So let me go here, and for this one, let me select this file, and for the JSON, let me use this file and submit it. Okay, so now my Firebase notification is enabled. So Firebase notification, now I can use Firebase notification and Firebase dashboard to send generalized notifications to. So generalized notification means that I can send notification to broad audience. Now maybe I want to send to all of my application users, or I want to segment it based on like different criteria such as devices, only iOS user, only Android user, or maybe based on age as well, like only 15 to 20 age users, right? So I can do all those kind of segmentation from the Firebase. Okay, now let's go here to personalized push notification. Now we are unblocked on that, and let me enable this, and we need to provide the webhook URL. So what does this mean exactly? So first of all, personalized push notification means that you will be able to send notification to any single particular user, right? Now, if you want to send push notification to any single particular user, you might want to have information that their unique identifier, right? That will uniquely identify their device, whatever the mobile application, mobile they are using, and to them we want to send a notification. Okay, now we do all these things for you. Like we find out the device token of the user, we find out who is currently logged in the application, and then we find out all this information, right? Now we want to pass that information to you because you will be storing this information in your database, right? So for example, in our application here, in the account, basically H&M, let's go here and go to the account screen. Okay, so let me log out once. Okay, so in the H&M, as you can see here, that basically they ask for email address and the password here, right? So email address is their unique identifier, first of all, as a user. Second thing, we need to, this is the unique identifier of the user. Second thing, whatever the device is currently user is using, we need to find out that unique identifier as well. Okay, and then we want to map it together, that this is the user ID and this is their device ID. Now if I want to send notification to this user, I want to use this device ID to send it, right? Now we find out all this information for you, and then after we submit it to whatever webhook you are providing here. Okay, so let me go to help doc here again, and then under the personalized push notification. Okay, so as I said that you will need to provide one webhook URL. Okay, and then once you will provide that webhook, and once user will enable the push notification permission, okay, we will get their device token, that this is the device token of the user. We will fetch it, so you don't need to worry about it. Then email address. So if user is currently logged in the application, right, we will be able to fetch their email address as well. If not, then we will be not passing this information. Okay, so this is kind of optional information. And the third one is platform. It's they are currently using Android mobile or the iOS mobile. Okay, so once we will have this information, we will be sending it to this webhook URL. We will be submitting as a post request to this webhook URL. So this URL must accept a post request and must accept this JSON. Okay, so you just need to prepare this webhook like that, and then we will be passing this information to your URL. And once you get that URL, basically you store this information in your database, and then later on you can use this information to send push notification to your users, right? So that's how you can set up a personalized push notification in your application. Okay, now once you will have a device token stored in your database, then after you can use Firebase or OneSignal, or there are a lot of other libraries that you can use to send notification to your users, and you can automate this process as well, right? So if you are using, for example, WordPress or Shopify or any other website technologies, right? Right, so all of them must be providing support for OneSignal or Firebase. There must be support for that. So then after you can do this kind of integration to send push notification. So for now, I'm going to use dummy URL now here for now, okay, and save it as a draft. So that's all. Once you will provide a webhook URL, you are done here, and rest of the things will be taken care by a Twinr builder. Okay, the next one is abandoned cart notification. So abandoned cart notification is pretty easy to set up. Okay, first of all, let's enable that. Okay, now the first thing is that you need to provide the cart identifier type. So cart identifier type, which is either you want to use a selector or a script. But what we want to identify here is that you need to provide the cart counter identifier. So the similar way the similar counter identifier that we used in cart refresh, we need to provide here. Now, like for example, if in your website you do not display a counter like this, right, then you can use script as well. So maybe you just need to prepare one JavaScript which should return true or false. Okay, so let me go to abandoned cart here. Yeah, so like something like this, that if this identifier is available or this element is available, then return true, else false. So you need to provide one JavaScript like this which should return either true or false, that cart is empty or not. So if the cart is empty, then return true, and if cart is not empty, then return false. Okay, yeah, so perfect. So now for now here I'm going to use selector, because we in the website here I can see the counter selector here, so pretty easy to. And cart identifier is already being filled up here because I had used it in cart refresh before, so we have this filled up automatically for us. Now we need to provide the notification title, that when user will have an abandoned cart, then what should be the notification title there. Okay, so for that what I will do, maybe I will write down some notification title like, do you remember how much you wanted this, something like this. So the notification title will be displayed. Let me go here. So you see, this is my title, remember how much you wanted this, right? The whenever user will receive a notification, the title will be like this and the description will be like this. Okay, now let's go to notification message and let's write down a message that you have left something in your cart, want to order now. You can decide whatever notification message you want to write here. Okay, it's up to you. Now notification schedule. So notification schedule means, for example, as a user I have added few products in the cart today, right? So after how many days I want to remind them. Okay, that's what the notification schedule means. Now this time it's in days, so maybe I want to remind them very immediately, because if I have an intent to purchase something today, then most probably if I will get a reminder for next 3 days, then it's highly probable that I'm gonna buy something, right? So maybe now it's totally up to you, based on your business requirement and based on whatever numbers is good for you, for your business, you can decide whatever the schedule is good for you. Okay, so for me, I'm going to select 1, 2, 3 here, right? And the notification click URL. So for example, when user click on that notification, right, where we want to bring them, where we want to redirect them in the application. So for me, I think the important thing is that when user click on the notification, we should redirect them to the cart screen, right? Maybe it can be some other URL as well. That's totally fine. You can provide whatever URL you prefer there. Okay, so I'm going to copy this cart URL and that's what I'm going to enter here. And that's it. Now save it as a draft and your abandoned cart is enabled completely. So now whenever I will add some products in the cart, right, and after 1 day, after 24 hours, I will get a notification with this notification title and this notification message. And then when I click on that notification, it will bring me to this particular URL, which is our cart screen. So yeah, I think in terms of e-commerce perspective, I have covered lots of new features here, and I think enough features which should be part of any e-commerce application, right? We did our branding setup, we did our theme setup, and then after we did our screens customizations and all those things, right? Then after we did implemented and enabled a few of the extensions here. And the most important part was personalized and abandoned cart notification as a business, as an e-commerce business. I really want to utilize this.
So that's it for this webinar, and I'll see you guys in the next one. In the meantime, if you guys have any other questions or concerns, you can always reach out to us via our live chat, or you can send us an email on hello@twinr.dev. You can also refer to our help documentation at help.twinr.dev for the detailed information. So thank you again, and thanks for joining us in this webinar.